So lesson 69, gas law problems. All right, back in lesson 57, I think it was, we did some stuff with gas laws where we had P1 looked like this. Okay, and we just plugged numbers in there and solved it. All right, now if you look at example 69.1, they give a ton of numbers. Well, they're the same number of numbers, they're just giving it to you in scientific notation. And it's a real pain in the neck to write all of the numbers in here. And so let's say a quantity of ideal has an initial pressure, volume, and temperature of 40 times 10 to the fourth, and that's our pressure, and then we multiply that by our volume over our temperature. Okay, I'm going to have to make my pen smaller so I can get everything on there. Equals. And then it says find the final temperature. So what I'm looking for is this here, given that my pressure is 0.0004 times 10 times 0.015. I'm going to have to move all this over. 0.015 times 10 to the negative 14. All right, so there's your problem there that you're trying to solve. Okay, not too terrible to multiply these and multiply these, but we're trying to get this T2 by itself. So now we've got to divide both sides by this and invert, multiply, and do all this stuff and rewrite all of this stuff many, many times. So what they're suggesting you do is get rid of all this. They're suggesting that you first of all write P1V1 over T1 equals P2V2 over T2. And you find out what you're looking for. We're solving for that. So let's not even write any numbers down. Before we do anything, let's solve for that. So we're going to cross multiply, and we get P1V1 T2 equals, okay, divide by, okay, and those cancel. And we're left then with just T2, and that's what we're looking for. Once we get it written this way, now we can start plugging our numbers in, and we don't have to rewrite them several times. We just write T2 equals, the initial temperature we've said was 700 times 10 to the fourth. And our P2, what is our P2? Final pressure, 0.0004. V2, our final volume. Final volume is always or final anything is always the 2 part of it. The initial is always the 1 over P1. What was our initial pressure? 40. There. So we only had to write all of these numbers out one time because they're put in the proper place. Now we just get our handy dandy calculator out and multiply all of that out. So normally what I suggest doing is multiplying all this out, writing that number down, and then dividing it by this. Put these in parentheses. It will really help on your calculator. Because if you don't, you're going to divide whatever you got up here, you're going to divide it. If you don't use parentheses, it's just going to divide it by 4 and then multiply that by 10 to the fourth. You want it to divide by this entire thing, so you have to put the entire thing in parentheses in order to give you the right answer. Alright, so let's just quickly look at one more example here. Come on, go away. That's weird. I kept my parentheses. Okay, so again, we're going to write P1V1 over T1 equals P2V2 over T2. All right, what are we solving? Solve the equation for P2. We're solving for that. All right, so let's cross multiply, and we have P1V1T2 equals T1P2V2. What are we solving for? P2. Since everything is multiplied by it, we just divide. And that's the way it always is. It makes it real easy. So those cancel with those and those. And there is my new formula. So now all I have to do is go back to the original equation and find the 5 numbers that I put in here for P1. This is the initial, final, because of the 2 makes it final. So just look for those when you're doing that. Final volume, you know that number goes there. Final temperature, there's your final temperature. Okay, and the other ones are initial. Put those in there, multiply, divide, and you're done. And that's it for lesson 69. Do they seem like they're getting easier, or are you getting smarter? Probably both. Okay, that's it for lesson 69.